Every dollar you don't save in your 30s costs you $10 to $15 in retirement wealth. Every month you delay costs you thousands in final accumulation. But every automatic contribution you set up today works for you every month for the next 35 years, growing exponentially while you focus on other aspects of your life. However, retirement savings represents just one piece of your financial foundation. The decisions you make about where and how you live will determine whether these savings strategies remain achievable or become impossible dreams. Housing, the game that changed overnight. Traditional homeownership advice has become financial poison for most 30-somethings in 2025. The old formula of saving 20% for a down payment and buying when you're ready to settle down assumes an economy that no longer exists. Real estate agents still push the same talking points about building equity and tax benefits, while ignoring the mathematical reality that housing costs have completely disconnected from income growth. The numbers tell a brutal story. The required income to afford the median-priced home rose by almost $47,000 compared with 2019. That's not a gradual increase, that's a seismic shift that fundamentally altered who can afford homeownership. The typical U.S. home value reached $359,741, according to Zillow's Q1 2025 data, with a 1.2% appreciation over the last year. But wages didn't increase proportionally, they barely moved at all. This creates a widening gap where homeownership becomes mathematically impossible for people earning median incomes. A mortgage payment on a typical home in March 2025 required about 35.3% of median household income nationwide when using a 20% down payment based on Zillow's 6.65% mortgage rate and current median home values. Financial experts consider anything above 30% unaffordable, meaning the typical American home is now unaffordable for the typical American family. This isn't a temporary market correction. This is the new normal created by years of monetary policy that inflated asset prices faster than wages could possibly keep pace. Co-ownership models represent one viable alternative that actually works in today's market conditions, particularly as Zillow forecasts a 1.7% price decline in certain metros during 2025. These arrangements allow multiple parties to purchase property together, splitting both the down payment and monthly obligations. Instead of needing $72,000 for a down payment on a $360,000 home, you might need $36,000 split between two parties. The legal structures exist to protect all parties involved, with clear exit strategies and profit-sharing agreements. This isn't just splitting rent, this is shared ownership that builds equity for everyone involved. Rent-to-own programs have evolved beyond the predatory models of previous decades. Modern rent-to-own arrangements allow tenants to lock in purchase prices while building equity through monthly payments. A portion of each rent payment goes toward the eventual down payment, creating a forced savings mechanism that traditional renting doesn't provide. These programs work particularly well in markets where home prices continue rising because they lock in today's prices for future purchases. Geographic arbitrage has become the most powerful housing strategy for remote workers. The ability to earn San Francisco wages while living in Cleveland creates instant wealth through cost of living differences. A $120,000 salary in San Francisco provides barely middle-class living, but that same salary in many Midwest cities creates upper middle-class lifestyle with significantly lower housing costs. Remote work didn't just change where we work, it changed the entire economic equation of where we live. The psychological shift required to view housing strategically rather than emotionally represents the biggest barrier most people face. Society programs us to see homeownership as a life milestone rather than a financial decision. But in 2025's economy, treating housing as pure emotion leads to financial disaster. The question isn't whether you're ready to buy a house, the question is whether buying a house serves your long-term financial goals better than alternative strategies. The true cost of homeownership in 2025 extends far beyond mortgage payments. Property insurance rates have skyrocketed due to climate-related claims, particularly in Florida and Texas markets. Maintenance costs that previous generations could handle with weekend DIY projects now require professional contractors charging premium rates. property taxes continue rising as municipalities need revenue, regardless of whether home values represent real wealth or paper appreciation. Opportunity cost represents the hidden expense that financial advisors rarely discuss. That $72,000 down payment invested in index funds at 7% annual returns becomes $194,000 over 15 years. Meanwhile, that same money tied up in home equity earns whatever your local real estate market provides, minus maintenance costs, taxes, and transaction fees. In many markets, the opportunity cost of homeownership exceeds the benefits, making renting financially superior despite social pressure to own. Renting provides flexibility that becomes increasingly valuable in an economy characterized by rapid change. Job markets shift quickly, industries get disrupted by technology, and personal circumstances change unexpectedly. Owning a home creates geographic and financial constraints that can prevent you from taking advantage of new opportunities. The person who rents can relocate for a better job opportunity in 30 days. The homeowner faces months of listing, showing, and selling before they can make the same move. The second strategic move involves treating your housing decision as a 10-year financial projection rather than an emotional milestone. Calculate the total cost of homeownership, including down payment, mortgage payments, insurance, taxes, maintenance, and opportunity costs over 10 years. Compare this to the total cost of renting plus investing the difference over the same period. The numbers often surprise people because they reveal that renting plus investing frequently produces better financial outcomes than homeownership. This strategic approach requires ignoring social pressure from family, friends, and society that equates homeownership with success. Your parents bought homes when they cost 3 times annual income. You're looking at homes that cost 8 to 10 times annual income. The economic game changed completely, but the social expectations remain the same. Recognizing this disconnect allows you to make housing decisions based on mathematics rather than social pressure. The housing decision you make in your 30s will impact your finances for decades. But housing represents just one piece of your economic foundation. The bigger question becomes whether your career can sustain these financial strategies or whether technological disruption will force you to rebuild everything from scratch.